was a little bit of a party girl, partied on the weekends. I just drank a little bit, wasn't into any heavy stuff. It wasn't until I was 20 that I got into Percocets, and my addiction took off from there. I was only doing the Percocets for about 2 months until I got pregnant with my first daughter, and I completely stopped. I did nothing throughout my whole pregnancy. I was still around it though. My kid's father was still doing it around me. I don't know if I felt peer pressured or if I wanted to do it to be cool or to keep him around, but you know, so I got this money and he brought up the idea, and I tried it, and it became a routine every day. I started off doing like 5 milligrams a day. We would split a 10 milligram one, and then as our addictions got more and more, we'd each do our own full 10 milligrams. And then when I was 6 months pregnant, just now back in February, I was actually doing half of a 30, so I was doing 15 milligrams. I thought, you know, I had this perfect life being a good mom and, you know, going to work, and, you know, it was at night that I was like doing my drugs when, you know, my daughter was sleeping. And it wasn't very long until it was only about 6 months into my using that everything started falling apart. I started not being able to pay my bills because I was like buying too many drugs. I almost lost my apartment, almost lost my car. It was July 18th, I did lose guardianship of my daughter. Still working at this point, but I was very lazy at this point now. I was so far into my addiction that, you know, I would sleep all day, I would just get up for work, I would use right before work, I would use during work, I would use right before court to go fight for my daughter back. In September, I tried an IOP program because I didn't want to go inpatient. I didn't feel that I needed to go inpatient, and I was there for 6 weeks, and out of the 6 weeks, each week I got drug tested, I passed 1. So I figured I'd stop going because it just wasn't working. My drug counselor I was seeing had mentioned Cynthia Day Family Center, and she said it was a 6-month commitment, and I was just like, oh gosh, I'm not doing 6 months, no way. Even though you can have your kids here, you can, you know, still get a job, but I didn't want to go to Nashville for 6 months. So I kind of pushed the idea out of my head, and then it was my case manager at Families in Transition who said, you know, there's this really good program, Cynthia Day, and I just said, oh my gosh, third person. I said 3 times is the charm, so I filled out an application. They told me the wait was like 4 to 5 months, so in the meantime I did a 30-day program in Keene. I went December 14th to January 9th. I completed the 30 days. You know, I was feeling really good afterwards. You know, my mom let me back in to live with her. I was doing 90 meetings in 90 days. I got up to 36 meetings in a row after I'd gotten out of rehab, and I was 60 days clean on the night I relapsed. I did not change the people I hung out with, so it brought me right back into, you know, my using. I was also lying when I got out of rehab too, so that didn't help. And I was 6 months pregnant, and I started using again for about 5 weeks. And my mom at this point had kicked me out again. And me and my kid's father were living at someone's house, and at this point I had gotten another job at a parking garage. I was again only there for about a month and I left. But we were living on someone's floor. You know, it was just, I was miserable, and my mom kept saying, call Cynthia Day and see how your application is, call Cynthia Day. At this point, at the beginning, middle to March, I've had enough. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be in my daughter's life. You know, my mom was threatening to take away this child if I didn't get clean. And it was March 21st. The Cynthia Day people at Keystone called me and said, we have a bed for you. And I was just like, oh, it was an angel sent from above, because for a couple weeks before that I didn't want this life anymore. I didn't want to be out using. I didn't want to have to work 8-hour shifts and come home and find my baby daddy still sleeping at 3 o'clock in the afternoon while I just busted my ass being 6 months pregnant. I came in March 23rd, and I've been here now almost 3 months. I have had my daughter here, my first daughter here, about 8 weeks in a row, for about 3 to 5 nights a week. It's been amazing. I have her back in my life. Me and my mom are on really great terms. She is very supportive. You know, I'm not in risk of losing guardianship of this child. Actually, June 29th, my guardianship expires for my first daughter. So, you know, I have a safe place to live for me and my kids. I'm almost 90 days clean. I feel great. I absolutely love it here. It's definitely saved my life. It's saved me from getting my kids taken away. It's saved, you know, my kids to hopefully go into this pattern, because I can, you know, learn as much as I can to help them learn as much as they can about addiction. I have to say that, you know, almost losing 2 kids was my downfall, and both my kids are my higher power and what give me my strength now today. So